Just by way of how the ceremony is going to go, I will be calling up the individual who's going to introduce the inductee, and then the inductee gets to say a few words, or a lot of words. They can talk as long as they want, or as short as they want. So we're going to start off now. I'm going to call Shelley Collicott Miller to introduce Lorie Cunti.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Mr. Allison, I didn't get a chance to speak. All right, it's crazy being here. 41 years ago this fall, I met my friend, Loredana Cunti. Now, I call her Lorie, so it's going to be Lorie for today. That kind of seems crazy to me because it doesn't seem like it's been that much time. KCSS is a special place that holds beautiful memories for me. I know this is still true. My nephews recently graduated from here, along with many of my daughter's soccer friends and even some of my cousin's kids. It's a school that continues to be a positive space for students to create their own high school story. My friendship with Lorie started as a beautiful story of innocence, really. As you know, KCSS is a school that collects kids from lots of different communities. When you arrive in grade 9, you feel like you don't know a single soul, and there's way too many kids. As I walked to my homeroom, Lorie was standing by herself outside the door. I sensed that she might have been feeling as lost as I felt, so I said hello and asked her if she wanted to sit with me. And the rest is history. Hanging out at school, hanging out with her older brother John outside of school, partly because that meant Lorie could come out, and partly because John knew a lot of cute boys. A great group of girlfriends, sports, cheerleading. If you want proof of the cheerleading, our pictures are still down the hall, believe it or not, as history. School dances, right through those doors. High school was just so much fun. But let me back up. Loredana is a first-generation Canadian, born in Toronto and raised in the rural countryside of Kleinburg, Ontario. She's the middle child between two brothers, John and Claudio, and fondly remembers feeding chickens as one of her childhood chores. I loved all the differences that sometimes made Lorie feel like she didn't fit in. To me, being Italian seemed to mean things like 2 kitchens in your house, always amazing food, tomatoes lined up in the sun, ripening in the basement, and a very strict mom trying to keep all her kids in line. A home full of love and passion. As we headed off to university, Lorie and a couple of friends chose Ryerson, or now TMU, and I went off to Laurier. Their various apartments downtown were always an experience, from climbing through the kitchen window for rooftop sunbathing, to a few cockroaches, to many mice, to strange neighborhood characters. It was a long way away from quiet King Township. One year, I even received a stuffed toy mouse in Waterloo so that I could feel like I was part of their downtown life. With a BAA in radio and television arts earned, the beginning of Lorie's work life was such fun for all of us. Being a radio DJ meant she had access to free concert tickets and free ski days. The Purple Chin radio ski suit will be in my memory forever. Once Lorie started working in film and television, we all lived vicariously through her travels, from Toronto to LA, LA to New York, New York to Europe. She traveled the world as the senior vice president of children's programming for Universal Studios. She was named Top Woman in Animation by Animation Magazine and produced animated hits like Maisie Mouse, Sitting Ducks, and Pink Panther. Truly impressive. Not to be bored while living in Paris, Lorie was inspired to learn the basics of haute cuisine. After finishing the first module at Le Cordon Bleu, she quickly realized she preferred the simplicity of Italian food. But having never truly baked and realizing that everyone loves a cake, Lorie was motivated to continue learning and went on to earn her Le Cordon Bleu pastry chef certification. After nearly 15 years abroad, a marriage to her husband Felix, and bringing 2 beautiful kids, Deanna and Frederick, into her world, Lorie moved back to Canada. Eventually, she had to pivot away from international dealings so she could be more present at home. Pivoting but not slowing down, of course, Lorie left the corporate world to pursue her calling towards entrepreneurship through her independent production company, Lore Work Limited. She has served on the industry advisory board for the Toronto International Film Festival and consulted on children's entertainment for several companies and organizations, including Ontario Film Development Corporation, Singapore Media, MGM Studios, Universal Studios, Weta Workshop, Australia Broadcasting, etc. Inspired by her children, she began inventing her own characters to relay the messages she was trying to impart as a parent. Today, she tells stories promoting growth to promote growth in the next generation of young people with themes of resilience, perseverance, self-belief, and individuality. Lorie published her first children's book in her 40s. With 6 successful titles to choose from, my favorite, Karate Kakapo, a bird that doesn't fly, working to earn her black belt in karate. She's practiced as much as any bird could and mastered all the moves, except that one, of course. Will she be asked to do a flying kick? You'll have to read the book to find out. Beyond her business, Lorie is passionate about working with the Stepstone charity here in Toronto, a charity which helps build life skills for youth coming out of the foster care system, and is a volunteer coach for her son Frederick's Summer League. I heard you won the cup this year, Frederick. So far, a life well lived. Lorie has given back to culture and community through both her career and her volunteer life. I know you're not done yet. I'm truly honored to nominate. Nominating Lorie.
Wow, Shell. Okay, so the fact that my kids are here and got to hear all that, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm so thrilled to be here. And I just, the story, one of my publishers called me and said, they emailed me and said, someone left a message on our voicemail looking for a Lorie Cunti. And so just to clear that up, when I started working, I was working for some Italians. And they said, Lorie, what Lorie is Loredana. And so I basically reclaimed my name because back in the day, growing up in Bolton, there were hardly any Italian families, so they just called me Lorie. So I love to be Lorie, by the way. Anyway, and thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you for just, this is amazing. And I want to say that I just said to Isabel and Zainab that in my grade 11 year, it was the first time I remember just feeling like me. You know, grade 11 was that year, and my daughter's in grade 11 right now. It's kind of emotional being back here. I haven't been back. I came back a year after we graduated, so I actually haven't been here for 40 years. And it's really, you know, you mentioned the zigzag of the path, right, that you take. It's not a straight line. How did I even get into radio and television arts? Mrs. Shavalovich, this is a great story. She was a teacher here, a gym teacher. Hello, by the way, Mr. McClure, Mr. Ellison, oh my God. And she's like, you should do basketball. In grade 9, she would see me in gym classes. No, I don't like basketball. Grade 10, you should do basketball. No, grade 11, no. Grade 12, finally, I'm like, okay, I'll do basketball. And by the way, I was an amazing basketball player. I told you, she would say. And so I think of that now as an adult. It's so easy to be like, no, that's not my thing, you know. And it's really just like chamber music or whatever. It's not my thing. So I try really hard to connect with that grade 12 kid finally when I'm going to do basketball and now I say it's not my thing to say it's not my thing. So that's, and then that's like for all of us of a certain age. stage, okay? So when Ryerson at the time, now Toronto Metropolitan University, came and they did a show in the gym, and it was like incredible with lights and actors and everything, and I thought, oh my God, that's what I want to do. That was the spark. In grade 11, seeing this troupe, doing this show, the acting, the staging, and I was like, I want to be that. And then you had to apply and everything, and I got in, and I remember you had to do an essay at the time, and amazingly, I did the essay. It was a lot about my Italian upbringing, which I used to have to run away from. I was so embarrassed about doing tomato sauce and doing all this stuff, and all of us, when we're younger, if we feel different, like we want to hide that part. By the way, now everyone's like, oh my God, you tomato sauce. Like it's so, And so I said, I'm going to do the show. I'm going to get into the school. And I got in. And when I got in, I thought I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to be the guy up front, the newscaster. And I realized that, no, I want to be the guy or the girl, deciding who gets to be on the TV. So that's when I realized I really kind of wanted to be a producer. If you look back at my days at King City, you would not have had me as a writer, okay? As Shelley mentioned, I only published my first book at like 48, I think I was. And I think it was Oscar Wilde that said, the art of writing is the art of sitting one's butt on one's chair. And at that time, I was just like running around all the time, and when I was at KCSS, it was like Shelley mentioned, my mom was strict and there were a lot of chores and everything. I would come here and I'd be like, I'm not going to do this. And I was like in every single club. But I did write for the school newspaper. The WWF was just starting, World Wrestling Federation. That was my very first article ever. And sports, as I said, were a really big part of my life there. I just read something that 94% of women in the C-suite, so in the chief executive roles in companies, identify as an athlete. So I love that stat, and I did do track and field and whatever basically kept me here. Cheerleading, as Shelley mentioned, so we could be on the bus with all the boys. That was the goal. And so basically, I got asked the question, what draws you to writing for kids? And honestly, I never thought I was going to be a writer. It's just what I think draws me to writing for kids and to being in children's programming in general, and how I started to specialize in that is just I really like it. I love the promise of it all. To be so curious and to stay open-minded and to think of a problem a different way, and to be able to couch, like Shelley mentioned karate kakapo. How did I come up with that idea? Vienna was playing soccer, and she'd have a hard time kicking. I was like complaining to my girlfriend, oh my God, because I'm such a soccer fan. I said, oh my God, yeah, just kick the ball, And she said, yeah, my daughter's in Taekwondo, and she has a really hard time yelling, because when they yell, that's what Taekwondo, or, yeah. And that's when it came to me, Taekwondo, about a bird, a dodo, who can't fly, but she has to get a flying kick, and when she gets asked to do that flying kick, what's she gonna do? So that's these inspirations are all around us. Then it turns out DreamWorks had a dodo that was a Taekwondo, so we had to change it, and she became a kakapo, just a little bit, So now that was when I was 48 coming up with the story. So guys, there's a lot of, you just have to pay attention. The thing about high school, so Melinda said in an interview, if you can get back to the girl you were in high school, then you still have so much optimism and you can still do some of the things that you want to do. And I thought, I'm paraphrasing, but I thought that's amazing, because in high school, it's all those things, oh, this is exciting, and all these things coming at us. And I'm trying to help people, kids and adults with the kid inside, find that opportunity, find that kid. That's what really jazzes me. When I go and do school talks, I love to do them. I don't take a fee because these kids make me feel like Mick Jagger in 1972. I am a rock star, and then I get to give them back to the teacher, like their grandmother, So I think that basically how I got to travel the world and all of that, it was really, as we say, it's not a direct line. I loved what I did. I was super chatty and loved people, and so I married what I love to do, which is meet people and learn new things, and be creative. Now at the time, if you ask me, are you creative? I would say absolutely not. I had no creative bone in my body, and yet, wearing a different scarf or hair, changing your hair, changing your shoes, making a deal at work, that's all creative. So now I'm just like, wow, we're all, that's how the creative gene is still going. I'm constantly coming up with new ideas that are in my drawer, by the way. Shelley mentioned my brother John, who was here and coming is very emotional. I adored him, and he passed away of a heart attack 7 years ago. And so I wrote a story for him. It's in the drawer. I wrote a story about a bat who's afraid of the dark. It's in the drawer. If I die suddenly, it's all in the drawer, guys. Okay. Bottom drawer on the right. And another quote that I have, I think it's also Oscar Wilde. He said that education is wasted on the young. Again, we had no idea how cool it was to be learning all these things, and so many of these things, it's not my thing. So I want to say, I want it to be my thing, and I want all of us to go and hang out with our young ones and be inspired, and remember that the place that we have in high school and all those early memories. Can you believe Shelley and we've gone over the years here and there where we don't talk because I was living away or you were so busy raising your family, and here we are again. So we don't know where the road's going to go. I am rambling, so I'm going to wrap this up and say I'm really happy to be here. I have so much to do still that I want to do. My neighbor said that we are young to the extent that our ambitions outnumber our memories. And I have so many amazing memories here, and I have so many ambitions, so just on the path, and I want to say thank you so much for putting me in the case, and for letting me come back to my KCSS. Let's go, LETSGO. So thank you so much, I'm thrilled.
There's a little memento.
Oh, it says Loredana. Thank you. I'm going to cross out the Adana part of the Lorie. Thank you.